Today on Ladies in the Lobby, it's all about video game characters. The good ones, the bad ones, and even the ugly ones. I'm looking at you, Kratos. Please don't get mad. Anyway, the show starts now.
I don't necessarily feel that I need to relate to every character. Sometimes it helps, but then I've cried during like Gears of War 3 and I clearly don't relate to what that life is like, but I've gotten a little choked up. Like, man, I can't believe that happened.
I have a soft spot for underdogs and for the hero that just kind of comes out of nowhere and realizes their purpose and their journey. That being said, I also like Nintendogs.
Background story, somebody with pain in their background and, you know, they rise above it, but there's always that like turmoil of good versus evil.
The type of protagonist I really enjoy are the ones that are super bold, but also have a little bit of wit about them and don't take their missions too seriously or are a little bit cocky and comical. I feel like Leon Kennedy is kind of the epitome of that protagonist because in Resident Evil 4, he is like this badass and he's not afraid to like piss off the bad guys by being, you know, a little bit shitty and cocky, but at the same time, he knows his mission is to protect Ashley, and when she gets taken away, you do see that more sensitive side of him, and that makes them more relatable.
Women.
She would be super powerful, she would be incredibly smart, but also very kind, and she would also be very generous and giving, but firm at the same time. Essentially, I'm saying she's Commander Shepard. That's really what I'm trying to say, because Commander Shepard is one of the best protagonists of all time.
I guess my favorite video game heroes are, for the most part, ones that I can just like interject my own opinions into. I really like RPGs, like BioWare RPGs, that let me be the hero. So basically, a perfect hero is like, I don't know, 5'3", long brown hair, again, big ears, and basically just looks like me and makes all the choices I would make, and also has a bow.
You know what I really love? You know what one of my favorite characters is? The Ram from Castle Crashers. That's who my favorite character is. He just follows behind me and he just knocks shit over. That's all that he does. That is his life goal, and he does it well.
A character I love and love to hate is Toad. Yes, Toad from Super Mario Brothers. I like Toad because I always choose him in games like Mario Kart and Mario Party, but it's mostly just so that if I'm doing badly, I can yell at and berate Toad, like, God damn it, Toad! Like, I thought we had this, Toad, you know, you blew it, Toad. I like being able to play as Toad and then project all my insecurities onto him. So, thanks, Toad. You look stupid.
The women in the world of Gears of War, for example, are really fantastic. Or even someone like Jade from Beyond Good and Evil is one of my favorite female characters. So I want to see more of that. So if I could make my own protagonist, I would make more strong female characters.
There are characters like in BioWare games, like Kaidan and Alistair, where like I love, like in an unhealthy, like you need to go out like on real dates kind of way. Kaidan is just like, he's like whiny and like needy, so like I get to be like I get to wear the pants and be like, look, bitch, you're a space mage. You need to go out there and be a biotic, and I'm gonna shoot people. And then there's Alistair, who's like, oh, he's kind of a little bitch too, but he's like whiny and charming and like, oh, I'm gonna be king, but I want to be a Grey Warden. I don't know how to love you, and like, oh, I'll teach you. And then like I give him gifts and he loves me. And this is actually, I'm learning a lot about my relationships right now as I talk.
One of my favorite characters of all time is Bayonetta because the way they created her as a character, she is a strong character that overly uses her sexuality, but not in a degrading way. She's never the damsel in distress, and she always has her shit together. And I know a lot of people were up in arms about how her finishing move was the climax, but I mean, find me someone who's not okay with the climax. Just saying.
I love Kratos as a character. I also like Lara Croft as a character. Not only is she a really strong female character, but she also really stands her own.
Soria in Ocarina of Time had a cool story too, because like she's like an adult in a child's body, and those are like complicated feelings.
I was sort of like, you think you're Zelda, you're not.
Oh dude, bitch, I'd be Zelda.
Really good hair. Really good hair makes for a good video game villain.
A good villain should be willing to do whatever it takes at any cost. That's murdering your best friend, your mother, your puppy. I don't care, just slit some throats.
I think what makes a great villain is a character that is just 100% a complete sociopath, someone that has a flagrant disregard for any sort of human emotion and sees like no repercussions for anything that they do. That's a really great villain because you know they're serious and you know that's someone you can't fuck with because like they don't give a shit.
I really hate when you get a lot of backstory on a villain. Sometimes I think it's creepier if they're just a villain because they're just evil. I don't want you to make excuses for being evil. You should just accept that you're evil and then that's it, and be evil. And no redemption. There's no redemption when it comes to villainry.
A good video game villain thinks that they're like, they think they're the hero. They're just like willing to do more to get it. And then also like they should probably have like a Russian accent. But they should also have a second form. Like if you're a good villain, like you should be like, oh, I'm dead. Just kidding. I mean, ideally, like you become like, you know, like Ganondorf becomes Ganon. But like it would also be cool if like they rip off their face and then it's like Nicolas Cage.
I think a good villain is someone you can always see yourself in. A video game villain I love is Bowser, just because I love collecting little princesses.
Voss from Far Cry 3 is terrifying because he's sort of like based off what like real sick human beings are. Sephiroth is a complete bastard. The Reapers from Mass Effect, like they were terrifying too because they just didn't give a shit about anything or anyone.
I really like villains that are evil, but not like in a really like gory, violent way. I think a good video game villain comes down to somebody that surprises you, somebody that you wouldn't expect to be a villain, like the woman in Uncharted 3, for example. Like, you wouldn't see her as a villain if you just saw her on the street, right? She's someone's sweet old grandmother. But no, she's like a ruthless killer.
I definitely like seeing more fun villains than anything else. Or villains that look like they're having a good time, because you know that it's going to be short-lived, so you figure, have a good time while you're evil.
A good villain, you know, they're not just inherently evil, there's something that drove them to be a villain, something that's so human that we can all identify with. Maybe being on like a talking heads show with a bunch of other women about video games, like something that would really send you over the edge, just push you too far.
I know there's a lot of people out there that love Metal Gear. I just have never gotten into that series. And Snake as a character, as a hero, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I need somebody to explain to me what is so cool about this guy. I mean, sure, he's good at sneaking around, but I mean, how cool is a guy that needs a cardboard box to hide out? Really, I mean, come on.
I swear to God, every Halloween I see like 9 Ezio's.
I kind of did not love Ellie from The Last of Us as everyone else did, or as much as everyone else did. I thought she was a cool character, and I totally appreciate a young, tough female character that other women can look up to in young girls. Though I just kind of really prefer the transformation that Walking Dead did with Clementine, where it was this really vulnerable girl that sort of learned to be tough, instead of a girl that was born into a tough world and just had to be. I appreciate much more the character development of Clementine. That being said, Toad is also a major asshole.
No one likes Luigi. Poor Luigi.
I don't really like Lara Croft. I never really liked Lara Croft. I mean, I always had an issue with the fact that she was gonna be like running down like a mountain in like shorts. Like, as someone who's fallen downstairs a bunch of times, like just because I'm clumsy, you cut your knee, like that hurts. You're out when you cut your knee. Like, she must have had so many cuts. And yeah, they gave her pants in this one, but it's just like, are those enough?
As much as I love BioShock and BioShock Infinite, I have a tattoo of the Devil's Kiss bottle on my leg. So clearly I'm a fan of the series. I really didn't like Elizabeth. I really didn't. I thought that she was kind of boring. I thought that she was, oh, I'm in this tower. Oh, but I have magical powers. And then, oh, I have this like songbird. Why didn't she use a songbird before if you could like work with him and protect? I don't get it. What she needed to do is Elizabeth needed to go to the majors and go to the big time, because she had a cannon on her that like, I would just be there and go, Booker, catch. And I'd be like, where? She's like a football field away and she has thrown ammo towards me, and I'm like, good job, lady. Good Good work. You're really handy in that way.
I don't think it's necessary, but I absolutely like it better. I need somebody to tell me the story. I need somebody to really involve me in a story, and voice actors actually do that for me.
There are lots of really great voice actors and their work that is amazing, though I do feel like it takes a lot for a game developer to create a game with a silent protagonist and to still make you care about that character and feel like you know that character and what their plight is and how they're feeling.
If I had to choose between a silent hero and a voiced hero, I would always choose a voiced hero. I think it's exciting that more and more actors and actresses are getting involved in video games, because to me, that means more experiences and more diversification among characters. I think you can look at a game like The Walking Dead Season 1 from Telltale and the work that the actor who played Lee did and how he arguably alone made that game as successful as it was. I mean, the woman who played Clementine did a great job as well, but Lee really kind of drove it home, and I think that a really talented voiceover artist can do that.
I feel like in general, I definitely like voice actors. They kind of they make the game seem much more cinematic. There are some games where the lack of voice acting is really cool, like, well, with Link, which has always been like a lack of memory space on the console. Like, they couldn't handle voice acting, but like now Link's like, huh? Like, that's so Link to me. But then there's also like Gordon Freeman, who like doesn't talk at all, and I guess that's what's supposed to be cool, right? Like, Gordon Freeman doesn't talk. I always thought that like I was Gordon Freeman, so that's why he didn't talk, but now I'm thinking maybe they should want to hire a voice actor.
I don't mind silent heroes, and I don't mind like a lot of dialogue. If I find it to be too distracting and I don't like it, or I'm just not interested in the story, then those are the moments when I do run something else in the background and I'm just like, I have to say, and not just because I worked on Sunset Overdrive, but I do really love that game, and I really feel like having my female character and the kind of sassy way that she talked really added to my game experience, especially because she reminded me so much of myself with even phrases that I would say, and people were like, people came up to me after that game was out and were like, did you totally write that? Because they thought that there were certain things that she said that they were like, that sounds like absolutely something that you would say. And I was like, I know.
Pac-Man, who's been around 30 years, has never said one single word, but everyone knows who he is, and he even has a Mrs. Pac-Man. So it's like, if you can grab a Mrs. without ever saying a word, I mean, that's a pretty impressive feat.
Well, clearly I would like the Ram from Castle Crashers to get his very own 6-part game series of just knocking things over. That's it. Like, it could be part destruction, it could be part battling, maybe other Rams. I've never even thought about the idea of like 2 Rams, like, you know, head to head, literally head to head. Ah!
I'm gonna say Quelaag, Daughter of Chaos, Dark Souls. What's her story? What's she up to? You know, maybe Quelaag's, she's looking for a man. Or maybe we put Quelaag into like kind of a Kim Kardashian Hollywood game. You can dress up Quelaag. You know, she's got the posterior to be in a Kim Kardashian game.
I can't think of any supporting characters that should have their own starring role. However, there are some really bad ones out there. For example, Dirge Cerberus with Vincent from Final Fantasy VII. Like, so many people were like, oh, it was such a good game, and I'm like, no, you were so desperate for a Final Fantasy VII anything that this was the first thing that came out, and you were like, oh, hey, it's a cool game, when really, it wasn't. No more Final Fantasy VII spin-offs, please. Just, you know, we all loved it. Let's not taint it with any more bullshit.
I think Liara should absolutely have her own game. Now, they haven't announced who the protagonist is going to be for the next Mass Effect game, but I hope it's an Asari, preferably Liara. But if I had to pick somebody outside of the Mass Effect realm, what about Sully? I mean, he's a great sidekick to Nathan Drake, but he could also be an awesome leading man. I think he's got enough charisma, he's clearly got skills in the thieving and shooting department, and I think that it would be awesome to see a spin-off featuring just Sully from the Uncharted series.
He's disgusting, but I would love to see an entire game of just Trevor from Grand Theft Auto. Ugh, he's gross. But he's kind of really intriguing to play as. Maybe because he is gross. Maybe I see myself as a gross man. A gross drug-addicted man.
I would love to see games that explore Princess Peach, Princess Daisy, Princess Zelda. Like, what are their stories? Like, not even like, you know, she's a princess, she doesn't need to be rescued. Like, it's not even about that. Like, I just want to know more about these characters, that these incredible franchises, that they wouldn't exist without these characters. Not so much Daisy, whatever. But they wouldn't exist without them, and yet we know so little about them. We know so little about what they want, or where they're from, and like what they're good at. Like, Peach can make cake. Like, that's basically all Peach does in Paper Mario. That's how she helps. Peach helps save herself by making cake. And like, I get it, cake's good and all, but like, couldn't she do more? Why does Bowser keep kidnapping her? Why does Ganon keep kidnapping Zelda? Where are their parents? These are questions I want answered.